Okay, this is a recording of me walking through the narration for the Momentum app, or at least the prototype. Corey's with me, so we're just going to be having a conversation while we're doing this, but we figure might as well have everyone see what's going on. Alrighty, so a few things you got to understand about Momentum that makes it different is that rather than just dropping you into a task management system or a to-do list, it actually has you start thinking about your broader level of goals and what you want to accomplish. And so that's the default view. What's the bigger view? What are you doing? And then it will help you go down into ever lower degrees of granularity. Also, what you'll see throughout this demo is that it very much uses the 5 projects rule to help you constrain projects, and it helps you sort of stay on track with things. Really, the app is trying to help you not overcommit yourself. That's a problem with so many to-do apps, is that they give you no structure. We overcommit and then beat ourselves up or think the app sucks. Turns out it's our expectations and our practices that need to work. All right, so that's where we're starting with the weekly planner. There are going to be different views, just like the Momentum Planner, where you have the monthly, weekly, and daily. You're only going to see the weekly and daily views here because that's all we currently have developed. But just understand there'll be fractals of this at every time slice. So at the very top, we're going to have focus. What are you focusing on the week? And we'll show you how some of the things work. And I'll pause to explain what's happening and why, so you get what's going on with Momentum. All right, let's go. This is us flipping through the months. What will happen here is that your objectives will change and you'll be able to dive into the week. A lot going on there, so let me pause. We're flipping through in this pane to show how easy it's going to be to jump from month to month. And then as you change your months, some of the weeks are going to change. So if you already have projects allocated for, say, April, they're going to start showing up when you look at April's view. And again, that's going to help you understand that in the future, you don't have open time in the way that we think. You probably already have projects there, so it's going to start telling you, you've already planned some projects. Again, trying to help you not overcommit to those things. Scrolling through, you can see us jumping into the weekly version of the weekly planner, or the weekly view in April. So this will pre-populate the things that are going on for April. So if you've been using the Momentum Planner for a while, you know how you have to copy and paste. Now it's preserving that for you. You jump into April, you jump into the first week of April. It's going to show you your monthly objectives that you've already allocated and start showing you what projects you have on deck. This lets you pick and flip through the weeks pretty quickly, just so you can see that there. It will pick the whole week. Yes, you will be able to choose Sunday or Monday as the start of your week. Go in, you can add a focus for this week. You can see that going right there. When you hit return, it's just going to give you a prompt that it was added. Alrighty, and so you're going through, you can edit, you can delete, and that shows you how that, again, anything you do, you're going to have a chance before you commit to it to say, yes, that's what I wanted to do. We realize with mobile apps, sometimes we click the wrong button, and then there we are. So we got your back on that. So we're flipping through, and now it's going to show you what's happened there is confirming objectives, confirming your monthly projects. You see this little highlight here that says you haven't confirmed your monthly objectives yet. What we're saying is you have some goals that are out there floating, but you haven't really locked them in. And it's just a little nudge for you to review that and make sure that you're on point. Once you do that, you're going to get a confirmation that, yay, you confirmed your objectives, and you won't get that thing anymore, meaning you've locked them down. You can always go back and edit them, but this keeps you from having to decide over and over and over again what you're doing for the month. Alrighty, we're going to go in what this is showing you here is that you can prioritize some of your objectives. Now, depending upon when you're looking at this, this may be your monthly projects. We're changing some of our language, but this helps you say, you know what, that project, ride mountain bike downhill without falling on my face, is the thing you want to focus on. And so it's going to stay at the top like that, so you really can make sure that it gets the extra TLC that it's likely going to need, or the extra excitement. Use your own, choose your own adventure with that one. We're going to go in and start talking about how you add weekly projects. So we're going to show this. I'll walk you through it a little bit as we go along. You see that you can add a project, and it's just going to give you a prompt to say, hey, we got it. Cool. You'll get that prompt every time. You can go through and populate it, and you can, just like before, you can decide after you put that in that, you know what, I put it in this week, but it actually needs to go to the next week. So let's talk about the send to week of this. What we're doing in this one is saying, you know what often happens is we decide that we're going to do a project, but then we look at the full stack and we're like, ah, crap, can't do it. Momentum is going to predict or suggest that, you know what, if you want to bump a project, you probably want to bump it into next week. So it's automatically giving you that option. And if you hit send to week, what it's going to do is just pick that project up and put it in the next week for you. Alrighty. You also had some other options here that I need to tell you about. Prioritize, you've already seen. Archive. By default, anything that you get rid of, you don't delete. It goes into an archive so that you don't have to make that choice in the moment of, am I deleting this and getting rid of it, or am I just need to make a decision on it and I need to get it out of my face. The archive is get out my face, right? You'll have another chance to go through and look at your archive and decide about those projects you put there. Again, we're trying to make the load of making decisions as fast and as easy as possible, because that's what we currently don't do in our to-do apps, is have quick decision making that supports us. Alrighty. When we type in an event, if you're familiar with Momentum Planner, we have a section for events. Why we've included that in Momentum, and we'll always include it in Momentum, is events often create the hard structure of your days and weeks, and it's important to get them in. What we will sometimes do, not saying I've ever done that, is commit to a lot of events, don't think about them when I'm committing to the projects that I'm doing for a day, and then realize 2 and 2 does not, it does not work, right? And then I end up overcommitted. So when you have events in here, it will give you the easy prompt. Again, you're looking at the weekly planner, so it's predicting or at least suggesting that you're probably talking about events this week. Let's make that easy. You get the event name, you'll have projects, you'll go there. And so when you type in this project, you see that it auto-filled other projects that you've already been doing, just so that you can tie those events to projects and remember why you're doing it. And gives you a chance to save in time. In future versions of Momentum, we will be able to sync up your calendars from Google Calendar, from Apple, but for our starting app, we don't have that functionality baked in. Largely, one of the holdups is we're trying to figure out how we're going to support you with the additional metadata, the project, and so on and so forth that will exist in Momentum that probably won't exist in your calendar. So feature to come. Alrighty, so it gives you a prompt that you schedule that meeting. You can see what it looks like right here. So you have immediate context. Who's the meeting with? What's it about? And when is it? Therefore, you're set up and you're not having to go scramble and look at your calendar and figure out what the meeting's about. Not that you're currently doing that. Deadlines, again, very similar. What's the chunk of the project you want to finish? It predicts the date and it lets you tie that to a project. And you see that it shows up once you get the confirmation as a deadline. So you got to provide feedback to Crit, helping you think like, what's the specific deadline? When does it need to be due? What project is it related to? And that helps you scaffold your day. Alrighty. As we're going through, you can see that you can add project chunks to your weekly dashboard. This is, again, using the momentum planning methodology. You can go through and say, what chunks of a project am I doing today? We want to get out of this place where projects are so big that you don't know where to start, and then you don't, and then you realize that you've been feeding Facebook all day and not feeding your work. Not that you do that either. Alrighty, so we've just populated some goals so you can see what that's going to look like. The color codes are just so you can immediately see what day it's going to be in. Obviously, there will be, different, down the line, there will be different skins that you can have for this that may support you better, but we're trying to use your brain's pattern recognition to be like, oh, blue is Wednesday, and you can kind of see that very, very quickly. Once you add them all, another thing that we're doing is making sure that the work you do doesn't just disappear, doesn't just go into black. So you see that when you finish something, you get that credit. You get to see, wait a second, I haven't just have this box of red things that I haven't done. I get to get credit for what I've done and build momentum from that. You can see how we're adding this. And what's really cool is if you complete everything you committed to for the week, you get a nice notification. I'll play that fastly. I'll play that quickly for you. That you got it all done. Great job. Again, using a lot of positive psychology to help you. Positive psychology, the best of the momentum planning methodology and practices for productivity to help you get your most important work done. This just gives you a quick slice of what momentum will look and feel like. We realize that this is completely different than the way a lot of things look like, that give you an easy way to just jump in and overload yourself. That ain't working for us, and we want to build something different. That's what momentum is about.